Good morning and welcome everyone to another edition of the Daily Night. I am once again your host, Brian Smith, and I'm also the publisher at Inside the Nights, powered by Fan Nation on Sports Illustrated. Today's edition is a very unique one because I'm actually in Denison, Texas, just about an hour north of Dallas, and I'm here scouting some football players and learning a lot about the culture of high school football in the state of Texas. I'm going to use this as an opportunity to write articles about comparing Texas football to Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, different states, as well as scouting a couple of key players that are at this high school, as well as another one, Liberty High School down in Frisco on the very fringe of the North Dallas area. And they're going to play tonight. This is Friday, and it's an opportunity to see high school football in Texas at full force right in front of my eyes. So Jadarian Price is a big-time running back committed to Notre Dame. And then there's a kid by the name of Sims I'm going to talk about a little bit too. He's an up-and-coming player in the class of 2024 with vast potential. So with that, here are a couple things to think about with the state of Texas as it relates to other states in the union. Number one, oil money. It changes everything. There's no way around it. Florida or Arkansas or South Carolina, some of the other states in the South that don't have near as much money, but value football the same, you may not notice it because the facilities are not the same. Texas has football programs that have turf fields everywhere. But that's just point one. When I walked into Denison yesterday, I walked in right before the coach's offices, the practice facility, the indoor practice facility. That's not something that's common in most states. Booster clubs, oil money, and an influence of Texas loving their football are all wrapped into one. That's something that these kids probably take for granted. Living in Tampa, I can tell you that that's not the situation in Florida. They have good practice facilities, etc., at most of them, but not all. And some of the places don't even have a good field for their home field in the state of Florida. I've traveled around that state all over. That's certainly the case in a lot of spots. Being stated, the state of Texas also has an opportunity that other states don't. And again, it starts with oil money, but then it blossoms into other things. AT&T, Chevrolet, Ford, whatever, they all have a better advantage, and then people invest in it. So with that, a couple of thoughts about some of the players and the situations here in Texas compared to some of the other states that I've been in. Number one, it's just a way of life. When I walked into the breakfast cafe yesterday, when I got into Denison, everybody, man or woman, when I got up and asked a few people, other people would chime in and said, "Hey, do you follow the football program?" Everybody knows about it. Yellow Jackets, that's just what the town does. It's about football. Period. In Florida, it's mixed and matched. Why, I don't know. But culturally, Texas takes football to a whole nother level beyond what Florida does. Talking about the community, not the players. Very key point, not the players, the community. I can go to a game in Florida. There could be 15, 20 kids on the field that will at some point play Division I football. And there might be 300 fans in the stands. There could be a few thousand. It could be pretty nice. But in Texas, that same kind of talent level will have 20,000 people there. The field that I'm going to tonight, it's the soccer stadium for the local pro team in Dallas, but it's going to be used for high school football, and it's part of an allegiance. This isn't a one-off. They have a contract for this district to play there. Do you think that soccer team does it for free? No. Is there some kind of way that it's worked out where they got the stadium and an allowance for that to happen? The football teams get to play? I guarantee it. Without asking anybody, I guarantee it. The football programs here come first. It's just different. So with that, and in segment one, the following question. If you lived in a place, Texas or otherwise, and you had influence in your community, would you promote and utilize an opportunity to get an indoor stadium, to get a specialized stadium like the one in Dallas I'm referring to that I'll be at tonight, to watch Liberty High School host Denison? What would you try to do with that money? Keep in mind they use these facilities for far more than just football before anybody asks. But what would you do with this money? Segment 2. Now, here's the really interesting part of it. Football, people come to the games, butts and seats, concessions, etc. That pays for the rest of the budget, by and large, for the rest of the athletic department. Women's sports, men's sports, etc. Tickets for football. It's that way in Florida too. But in Texas, because of the excitement, the expectation, the culture, they have an opportunity to do it in a way that, quite frankly, other states just don't really do. In most places, there are spots in Georgia for sure that are that way, and in spots in Alabama. I've learned this. But overall, as far as an all-encompassing, just big state, in Texas is humongous. From talking to all the people around Dallas, and I'm learning a little bit about Houston as well, in East Texas, etc. It's not even competitive. Texas is the one state holistically that I know of does it. I'm pretty sure Georgia does too, but I haven't researched it quite enough. South Georgia for sure. Now the question is this: how do we get more states to invest in it? And then that investment splits off and allows other sports, women's soccer, whatever, to have more revenue. What do we have to do? This is great. The facility that I was at when they were running their walkthrough at Denison, they're down on one end doing it. They were doing soccer and different things at the other end. It's no big deal. It's massive. It's a football field. Why would they not want to utilize that? Also of note, in North Texas, they get snow and ice. It's not like South Texas. It's a humongous state. Denison is due north of Dallas, which is in the north part of the state. And Denison's not that far from the Oklahoma line. They get cold weather. So an indoor facility actually makes more sense there in that aspect. South Texas, it would just be more from a heat perspective. You can close it off, run air conditioning, etc. Helps from rain too. In Florida, with the rain we get, practices are constantly interrupted, and so are games. Not as much you can do about that because of lightning. It sucks. Indoor facilities would help with all sports, but there's no way around it. It is straight out of your pocket, one way or another. And it must include uninterrupted booster clubs. What do I mean by uninterrupted? I've been told several times that the teacher unions in the state of Florida cause problems with the booster clubs. Shame on you, and that's pathetic. If you do in any way, shape, or form, booster club, whatever, get in the way of the athletics because you think that money should be going somewhere else, you're sad. Very sad. Again, this is not like one person has told me this. This is multiple. Being stated as such, Florida needs to figure it out. It's a subject I've touched on many times, and I will never stop until something changes. It is something I will talk about the rest of my life. Florida needs booster clubs, open-ended, not stopped in any way by teacher unions or anything else, influence, comments, whatever, so that the football programs can help all the sports. It's that simple. I'm Brian Smith. You can find me at Inside the Knights, and I'm looking forward to seeing the game tonight, and I'll have some more reports about how the game went, about Jajarian, and it'll be on Inside the Knights as well as Irish Breakdown. Since Jajarian is committed to Notre Dame, I'm going to do a preview of kind of what his skills are based on the game. So check it out. Everybody have a great day, and thank you very much.